good to have your company on Olsem, Wanem. Tourism in Papua New Guinea is like a sleeping giant. Like art and culture, tourism has a lot to offer in terms of socio-economic growth in the country. This evening we talk to some local operators and find out what their small ventures can offer. We also highlight once again the need for infrastructural development to attract tourism investments. But first, here is a reminder of what a country like Papua New Guinea can offer. That's not to say that tourists can't go anywhere else in Papua New Guinea. However, improving and maintaining existing infrastructure will have an impact on the movement of visitors to Papua New Guinea. This is Olsem Wanem, and if you've just joined us, we are talking about improving development, existing infrastructure to make way for tourism potential in the country. 2 weeks ago, the Southern Highlands province held a 2-day development forum and invited concerned stakeholders to market their master plan, a step forward in service delivery.
Southern Highlands Province has a land mass of 15,100 square kilometers. Its provincial capital is the town of Mandi. According to Papua New Guinea's national census, the total population after the separation of Hela Province is 360,318. The province, despite being resource-rich, has been a land of many missed opportunities. Money from its resources has not been put into good use, resulting in the breakdown of services in most service sectors.
I'm in a supermarket, no water supply lawyer. Me plus struggle time dry system plus a pineapple people waran about local laundry was Olsem okay house do government round down no cattle good pla house tap or long time house now and bag up inside no cattle good pla shower room bathroom toilet no gat Wanem yeah Olsem na no cattle good pla supply wara people bag up.
Living people in the province asking where all the money has gone to.
Yes, true. Gap money, pantim this la ken money tasol. Mi plus a harem number of money. So this la money in a become lo community. So I almost have make him 1 plus something.
The Southern Highlands Development Forum is a first of such to be held in Southern Highlands Province. It has never been the case for the last 30 years.
For the people of Southern Highlands and the administration, you bring a new chapter in the history of this province.
The forum attracted stakeholders and development partners from the public and private sector to deliberate on the draft Master Development Plan. Their input will help the provincial government come up with the final development plan. The Master Development Plan will be the vehicle to drive development endeavors in the province.
This plan is to set the strategic framework and benchmark for development of Southern Highlands. Put together an administrative structure going before the Department of Personnel Management for approval, so we can manage our issues here with the new administrative structure. This is a stakeholder development forum for our stakeholder partners out there, the private sectors who are operating in Southern Highlands, the Southern Highlands Provincial Administration, the national government agencies, NGOs, and all stakeholders to go through our draft Master Development Plan, so we gauge the views of others and finalize this development plan for launching.
The plan will be implemented over a period of 5 years, during which specific sectors will be targeted in 2 phases. This is to ensure the most urgent services are restored to improve the livelihood of Southern Highlanders. Architect behind the plan, Lawrence Sauce, explains.
It does not deal with matters of tactics or operational detail. All right? In case some of you read through the documents and talk, hey, Doctor, no put in project here. We're not dealing with projects. All right, in the document. Number 2, it does not contain a list of programs or projects and then allocates funding to such. This is not the purpose of this master plan. Number 3, it does not contain a list of activities and objectives as such. And about number 4 point, I think, is the most important point. The master plan's focus is broader. It is strategic in nature, looking at the long term, i.e. 5 years and beyond. As such, the master plan is more a strategic document rather than a technical document.
It is about getting the most from existing resources and capacity. Therefore, not all areas will be developed due to these resource and capacity constraints. The success of implementing the plan lies with the public servants in the province. However, the capacity of the public service machinery in the province at present is found wanting and needs strengthening. Governor William Powey told his public servants to perform.
And on the administrative structure, once the new administrative structure is approved, the administration will take ownership of this master plan and drive, we read through the 4 action plans that I have alluded to, so that you see some meaningful development taking place in Southern Highlands. Following the approval of the administrative structure, the Southern Highlands Provincial Government will call out for a countrywide graduate recruitment drive.
Minister for National Planning and Monitoring Charles Abel emphasized on the importance of procurement. This is critical for service delivery.
We look at the funding envelope and we channel it towards those gaps, and we work very hard on a procurement system. That's what I was saying. That we are putting in place a cabinet system and a structural system where we are going to monitor what is happening. And I've established 12 critical national projects. One of the 12 is provincial empowerment I'm talking about.
When we come back, we continue with part 2 of the forum, where they highlight the sector priorities. Watching Olsem Wanem. This evening we feature the Southern Highlands Province Development Forum. In this segment we look at some of the key sectors they plan on improving and what directions these sectors will take.
Over the years, much of the infrastructure in Southern Highlands have been left to deteriorate due to lack of funds. Roads and bridges which play a vital role in service delivery have crumbled, affecting the lives of many people. But the situation is being arrested with funding of 55 million kina to upgrade ailing infrastructure in the area. Work has begun on the Mendi to Kandep section of the Highlands Highway.
Under the national government's year of implementation, and that will take effect very soon this year.
Poor educational facilities have contributed to the low academic standard of pupils in Southern Highlands. Resource allocation in the education sector cannot match the growing demand placed on the education system in the province.
Problems where tintin loksim secondary but mibla no katol plenty facilities like school fencing mibla no staff good mibla no kat proper toilet water tank all classroom doors mibla no staff and because mibla no kat fencing if mibla able to salim sabla at least some funds come to school mibla need more dormitories. Plenty teachers, we also sleep out and also come school, come teach. We need more house teachers. And this is school and close one la school where I'm producing plenty Sabaman lo Papua New Guinea. Now plenty Papua New Guinea, plenty Sabaman lo Papua New Guinea or stop through lo Mendi High School. Example can say Francis Awasa, Membablo, Mendi Open, Imbongu, Minister of Works and Transport, and produced Mendi High School producing them. Can say Pastor Isaac Joseph, former member of Mendi Open, but me need plenty support lo Mendi High School, Mendi High School. Now I'm like I'm secondary school. Please, one of my people look at me, one of my Jubla Tintinosem, Bible support the Mibla, please, me like funds Bibla all.
Therefore, the government will invest heavily in education to lift the standard of education and to increase the number of Southern Highlanders gaining access to higher education. Mendi High School come next year will attain secondary status. Last year, bulk of its students made it to national high schools, and a name change is a plus for the school. Deputy School Principal Jennifer Peters said, the school is ready to receive its first batch of grade 11.
Our setback is only the materials in the science lab and the library. Apart from that, intellectually we are that competitive to the rest of the country. Like last year we were able to produce about 42 students to the nationalized and that's a lot. That's a great number for one school to send out to nationalize. And it's good that we get students who are graduates who are coming from the college, UOG, who are able to work side by side with old teachers out there, and then they can say ideas together. And that is a very good blend to develop the students intellectually.
Established in 1974, Mendi Hospital is the only referral hospital for the Southern Highlands province. The hospital is stretched to the limit trying to cater for the increase in patients. It has been given the same budget of 10.8 million kina for the last 5 years, but it needs 15 million kina yearly to operate.
Hospital. 9 million would go to salaries, and then 4 million to do operational, and that would be sufficient for me to run Mendi Hospital.
This budget constraint has resulted in the hospital facing acute shortage of medical equipments. Chief Executive Officer Joseph Turian said the hospital is operating using old equipments.
The same budget over and over again. Last year we were given 10.8 million. This year they gave us 10.11 million. So it's not a lot of increases. The increase this year was 500,000. So you see, there's not a lot of increase to help us to help our clinicians. And so really, we would need outside assistance to get medical equipments.
Under the Public Health Act, the hospital has to deliver health services to the rural areas, but this is impossible due to lack of vehicle. With the redevelopment plan of the hospital, it is hoped assistance will come from authorities concerned. Southern Highlands, like many provinces in the Highlands region, is continuously being affected by lawlessness. Restoring peace and good order is critical and is one of the bases upon which all other development efforts will succeed. A BA ban has also been imposed to curb lawlessness, but there are still pockets of illegal alcohol sale, mainly at the market.
Straight him sit down or kind road where all duty need him again. Only not provide him especially basic needs like some little some strict him up. Only to strict him up rules here. Law and order one a problem when we come up now. Youths too when we block the foul number and stuff.
Side bimdal mama Mary must me liking government must put him must lika bed must la big pla Wanem in charge of province blomibla. All months of drink beer make us moli Mary about the road and chakai about so like him must bend him lika bed go down. Lo meina pe mos mendi market street this la landing sa kama plan the time. Pulling bilum lo Mary steam ta so steam.
The law and justice sector is also taking action to address alcohol abuse.
In October 2011, the Law and Justice, the highest delegation ever since independence, came to Mendi. And the governor himself was there, some of you were there, and we stood at the podium there at the Momo. We took the people down to Southern Islands to tell you how much we believe in the province. Of course, the ultimate benefactors, as you all know, will be the people of Southern Islands, minus, of course, our friends from Ella.
When we come back, we highlight a few local tour operators just outside the city. That's after the break. You're watching Olsem Wanem. In this last segment, we feature the importance of having a development plan to enable other viable sectors to flourish. The tourism industry is one such sector. We spoke to a few based outside Port Moresby City.
Loloada was one of the earlier tourist ventures of Papua New Guinea, actually, as a tourist venture. We started at the end of 1977 with the idea of developing a diving lodge. There weren't any diving lodges in Papua New Guinea, and very few in the world at that point, but the quality of diving around Papua New Guinea is exceptional, was and is exceptional. So it was a logical thing to try and do. We originally had the idea that we'd like to start on the north coast of the country, somewhere around Madang, but it became very difficult to find a potential venue. And eventually we actually gave up on the idea and continued doing what we were doing. I was teaching at the time in the Highlands. But subsequently other people were interested in purchasing Loloada, which was already an existing weekend guest house, enterprising Australian that worked, and the government had set up a sort of weekend guest house. So people used to come down weekends and go back, and he lived here in the interim and went to work in town, working on the fine part of the laws of the Constitution, actually. In any case, he was elderly and wanted to get out, so he put the place on the market, and we eventually bought that. advantage of being close to Moresby, which other businesses of our kind didn't have, not that there were many around at that stage, is that we're close to a weekend population that might want to get out. We were close to a fairly large population that would provide for conferences and seminars and training courses. And we're also close to you know, a supply centre. Like, one of the difficulties in tourism is probably the more interesting places are further away from the population centres, but the further you go, the more you create a logistics problem for yourselves.
Mr. Knight reiterated that a lot has to change on the ground to make the industry work, in terms of infrastructure, roads and funding by the government.
As for tourism potential in PNG in the future, well, we always say that PNG's got great potential for tourism, and it really has. You know, it's got everything that everyone would want, you know, pristine mountains, pristine ocean, great trekking, great diving, great surfing, a very, very vivid and alive culture. And then, you know, attractions like great range of birds of paradise that are unique, great range of animals that are unique, and so forth. One of the main elements is that it's a fairly untouched environment that's changing slowly, and that'll be to the detriment of tourist development perhaps. But, you know, you can't deny other development happening. So, yeah, we can always talk about PNG having huge potential for tourism. For tourism itself, we're not renowned as a tourism destination except in a few niche areas. So there's not massive numbers of people coming, so that means it's difficult to get going. You've got all of those issues with infrastructure, you know, like no roads across the country, so it's going to be expensive to go from one place to another because you've got to go by aircraft. And even a lack of infrastructure means that costs are very high, you know. Even for us, just to give you an example, you know, we're, what, 16 kilometres from the airport there, but, you know, that road, which is, you know, the Maggie Highway, just doesn't get maintained. So, you know, vehicles last 2 years when they should last 5 years if you're lucky, you know. And into the bargain, we actually pay, or we arrange to actually have the highway graded. We pay for it ourselves, you know. If we didn't, our vehicles would be damaged even a lot more quickly, and sometimes you can't even get through there.
We started about 2 years ago, and we've been operating since then. The concept came into as an idea to me basically when I left my former employment. That was 2 years ago, and I came. What I thought was, and when I left the formal employment, I needed to just do something that would sustain myself and my family. So, hence this Sunset Village Resort came out. I mean, basically it's all about tourism, you know, when you want to do an establishment like this, or, you know, in other rural areas. That gives the people in the village to, you know, actually participate in that particular, there's a project or for ecotourism, they all participate, and at the end of the day, they get something out of it.
And in addition to that, True Spirit, an Australian adventure company, had their launching in Port Moresby last week, and this is what they had to say.
Look, we've just finished walking across the Kakata Trail for a charity in Australia with Manu from My Kitchen's Real and Kate Peck from MTV Video. And we had 43 porters walk across the track with us, and it was one of the most inspirational and life-changing adventures we've been on. It was great to have these celebrities walk the track with us because it makes people more aware of what PNG is about. Now, for us at True Spirit, it's about everybody having an opportunity to live a very fulfilling life, be it an Australian or be it a PNG person. I've been coming to PNG since 2004 and I love the place. So we decided to launch here in Port Moresby tonight to try and give as much opportunity as we can to the people of PNG as we can and tell the story about the Kakata track, tell the story about PNG and let people know what an incredibly powerful place it is to come here. PNG is a land of opportunity, and every time I come over I just get inspired by the people, I get inspired by the beauty of the place. Having like Manu here from My Kitchen's Real and Kate Peck from MTV, the press will get back in Australia. We're working with the PNG Tourism Promotion Authority, we're working with the Kakata Track Authority. This will go on websites, this will go in newspapers, this will go in magazines back in Australia. And people hear more about the Kakata track, people hear more about what PNG is really like. And I think the greatest thing we can do for PNG is give them some really, really good publicity. And having people like this, celebrities over here, is an opportunity to give really good publicity. And PNG is a great country, and it's a developing nation, and like all places, it has it has shortfalls like any country. Obviously I come from Australia and we have many shortfalls as well. To judge another country is difficult, but it's a really difficult land because it's such a wild country as well. So to build logistics here is a real challenge. And I guess one of the things about PNG is the fact that it's so wild. That's one of the beauties of the place. We start getting, putting fancy infrastructure in places, it takes the uniqueness out of the place. It's an incredible place and I love it.
This has been Olsem Wanem. That's all we have time for. As usual, do send us your comments about the show or suggest an issue that you'd like us to follow up for you. The address is on your screen, or you can go to www.mtv.com.pg and click on the OW program. Until then, have a safe weekend.